What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing those pulls. So here's what I'm thinking for the video, right? We are going to pull enough to get the Reytah banner. We are, as I understand the pulls, guaranteed to hit at least 4 legendaries and Reytah herself. So we're guaranteed 5 legendaries today. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull through all of our dice. We also have a rebate thing going, which is nice because, as I understand it, you want 300 pulls, but you get refunded 30. So you really only need 270. So even outside of dipping into our worm arrow, we have plenty. So I'm thinking about doing is just doing a bunch of pulls, maybe making some crazy faces. But realistically, what I'm going to do is I might ignore the epics, not because the epics aren't good, but because I don't want the video to be like 3 hours long. And we might just kind of stop whenever we get a legendary, look them over, and then maybe think about, you know, where they might be useful for us, and then go back to doing some pulls, right? So without further ado, I need all of you to raise your hands to the sky, all right? And I need you to channel your energy to me for this first 10 pulls. I also thoroughly love that rolling animation. It is so good. So I see. Okay, so we got a legendary on our first. God dang, look at that afro. That is a powerful afro, my word. Well, we got a legendary in our first 10 pull, guys. Danella, the glittering puppeteer. So she has a A1. The magic puppet bird flies to a random enemy every 8 seconds and deals damage with a 70. Okay, so heal cut. Okay, so heal reduction, nice. A stun, activates spare to deal with. So this is enemies, but there's only one block here. A single target stun could still be super useful, especially considering one thing that we've been thinking about is arena. And arena, from what I've noticed, all the teams that kick the crap out of me, they just have a ton of CC. Because when you're stunned, your recharge bar doesn't go up. Who would have known? Finally, we have an attack penalty and an accuracy. So decrease attack, decrease accuracy, and it hits all enemies. Okay, all right, not bad, not bad. Am I wowed by her? I don't know whether or not to be wowed by her. I'm thinking if she was a raid legendary and she had a single target stun, a single target heal cut, and a decrease accuracy, decrease attack, I'd be like, yeah, she's a good account progression legendary, right? Somebody that can get you through wave content and probably help you with bosses with the decrease attack, right? And there's some bosses where heal reduction also super useful. So hey, not bad. What else? So we pulled all rares, except we did get a legendary in our first 10 pull. And my, what a fancy fro that is. If nothing else, the fro, chef's kiss. All right, next 10 pull. Okay, we got another legendary on our 10 pull. We're getting pretty lucky here, guys. We're getting pretty lucky. I won't lie. All right, unique bomb, attack. And a max HP hit. Max HP hitters are always good. Usually they're always relevant to some extent, because having damage that scales off of your enemy's max HP, the stronger they get, doesn't matter. Also reducing their ultimate energy by 25% and with a 75% chance of dispelling all their buffs. There is a dungeon where the boss puts a ton of attack ups on himself. I wonder if this guy would be really good for pushing that, especially considering, again, the max HP. The boss gets tankier, he hits harder. The A2 Sprays flames that burn enemies within range. Okay, so a huge line blast, a little Kamehameha down the line. Also does max HP. Flames also backfire on the hero each time dealing. Oh, so he hits himself as well. I mean, that could be negligible, right? If somebody's good enough, sometimes them having negative effects on themselves can be negligible. The hero takes 30% less fire damage. Additionally, when the hero takes fire damage, there's a 30% chance of recharging his ultimate energy and that of surrounding allies by 10% and granting defense up to the hero and surrounding allies for 5 seconds. This effect can only be triggered once every 5 seconds. Wow. I don't know, the ultimate energy thing, I have to me that reads like Raid's turn meter fill, and turn meter fill is always good. It's never bad. It's literally never bad. So this guy seems really good. I'm not gonna lie to you. Turn meter fill, defense up, fire is specifically, and that's really what it is it's fire specifically. So we'll have to double check something, but now we got to just move on to our next 10 pull, huh? Because we're already, what are we at? Almost 5 minutes in, and we've only pulled 20 out of the 270 we have to pull. So let's go ahead and do a pull. We got another legend, dude. We're getting a legendary like every 10 pull. This is crazy. You know what's actually insane to me? What's actually blows my brain out of the water is in raid, we get some of the most unlucky pulls sometimes, especially on the main account. Just recently, we're doing the fusion, the Mavara fusion, and we got a legendary on our very first Sacred Shard pull because we needed a couple to get through the champion chase. And we got a duplicate Rorik Wormbane. Like, woo. We've also gotten some of the worst. We have some of the worst legendaries on our account, like Norog, who did get a buff. I still think he's crap as a legendary. He would be a good epic. He would be a good Ugo. But Ugo is also better than a lot of legendaries. I don't know. Maybe it's just old hate for Norog. I also have Altan, arguably one of the worst legendaries. And to be fair, some of these guys might be completely useless too. But when you're getting a legendary every 10 pull, wow. So grants a 15% max HP, and then this scales off of Enlightenment shield to each of the allies. While having this shield, they parry damage each time when taking damage, reducing damage by 10% of defense. So like a reflect damage. That seems pretty good. We also have an aura here, HP in battles of Fey Meander and Trial Breakthrough. Okay, so basically like a Doom Tower aura. Here we have attacks enemies within range, dealing attack and damage, scaling off attack and enlightenment. Gains 1 stack of Death's Blessing for each enemy hit. Also grants all allies defense up. Reduces damage taken by 5% for each stack of Death's Blessing. Dispels 1 stack after taking damage. Okay, so this guy is just a tank, right? At the start of the banning, it dispels 1 stack after taking damage. Okay, so this is the Death's Blessing. So this Death's Blessing just makes him super tanky, and then he puts a shield on everybody with a reflect. The first thing that comes to mind here is Vortex. Having that reflect, having that defense up means that we can get through more waves. Right now we're already hitting S+, but we might hit a point where we need a little bit more, right? So not bad. We also got 2 epics. I remember this guy from the campaign. Energy reduction, healing debuff, cool. And then this guy I also remember from the campaign. Recharge, heal cut, dispel buff. Okay, not too bad. Like I said, getting pretty lucky. Getting pretty lucky here. Okay. Luck's kind of worn out a little bit, but we couldn't expect to get a legendary on we would have had like 27 legendaries, which would have been sweet. All right, epic here. We got Bargain. He is a Bargarn. Sorry, not Bargain. Protection, debuff, control. Okay, so kind of like a tank. Support, energy reduction, shield, and buff. Same thing. Couple, looks like 2 solid supports. Nice. We are getting some epics that we don't have, so that is nice. All right. Looks like our luck definitely. But to be fair, now that I'm calculating in my head, we might walk away with 6 legendaries instead of the 4 or 5 that we were guaranteed, because we do have to think about Reytah being guaranteed, right? We've already hit 3, and our first 30 pulls, we got 3 legendaries. That means we have 240 more pulls, and that's 70. So yeah, we're looking to walk away with 7 legendaries instead of the 5 that we knew we were going to get. So honestly, not a bad gig. Here we got Mullathorn. He got a buff, a debuff, and a shield. What do we got? Accuracy. When an ally loses a buff, has 100% of granting them defense up. Can only trigger. Okay, that's actually not bad. That's actually not bad at all. A weak defense up that goes every time someone. There's a lot of synergies I could think of for that. I don't know how good he is. I don't really know how useful he would be, but I could think of things that would synergize with him. All right, we got Pearl. Healing and buff prohibition. That's good. Healing and buff prohibition. Definitely, I can think of some dungeons where that would be useful. Silence, cannot cast battle skills and ultimate. Oh, wow. This person seems really, really good for PvP. This seems like a really, really solid PvP epic. Heal cut, block buffs, and basically stopping them from using any of their skills. So like a lockout, as Raid would have it. And then when an ally takes an AoE damage, so yeah, English, obviously the English localization could use some work, but hey, it is what it is. Basically, when an ally gets hit by an AoE spell, this spells 1 debuff from all allies. And on a 5-second cooldown. Okay, not bad. Not the bad. Okay. We got a bird. We got a burb. Burb. Suwala. When Suwala HP reaches 0, the hero falls into slumber at her location. After 16 seconds, she resurrects. Upon resurrecting, she grants allies 30% of their max HP in healing and dispels 2 debuffs. After resurrecting, she restores 50% max HP and gains 50% ultimate energy. While Suwala is present, all allied healing is increased by 10%. Seems good for a passive. Releases 2 prayer cylinders that follow random 2 enemies for 5 seconds when prayer cylinders are spies. Okay, so it's done. And and heal stealing. And heal and attack reduction. That is one thing that I do find very fascinating with Dragonheir, is a lot of these characters, like the legendaries especially, they have abilities, and this is also what makes it hard as a new player, is they have abilities that only they have, but they come up as a buff, and you don't know what the buff means. Like, some of them are intuitive. If I see a red sword, it's negative attack. If I see a blue sword, it means their attack is going up. The prayer cylinder thing, I would have never been able to guess what was happening. You know what I mean? So this game is very involved in that way. Can be kind of daunting for new players, but I'd imagine for veterans, this is the kind of complicated stuff you love, right? Suwala enters Guardian form for 5 seconds. During Guardian form, the hero cannot move or attack and protects all allies within range. During this time, Suwala gains an indispensable max HP shield. 50% of the damage taken by allies is transferred to Suwala. Allies gain the Guardian of Purity state, and Suwala becomes immune to all control effects. Immune to all debuffs while active and restores 5% of max HP every second. Oh, man. So she pops her ulti. and makes your team basically goddamn unkillable. So for me, she kind of seems like a really good PvP champion that is a direct counter to teams that want to use a lot of healing. That's how I'm understanding it, right? Because the heal stealing and then the stun and attack reduction, it's basically like, yes, you want to do a lot of healing. Well, I'm going to steal your healing, reduce the attack on your nukers, and then once this ability ends, I stun them to give my team even more chance to kill your team. And then once your team starts popping their ultis, I'll pop my ulti, get a huge shield, take most of the damage for my team. Yeah. And then afterwards, you're going to cycle back into trying to heal people, and I'm like, hoo, that's mine, stun, haha, do the Dougie on them. So, yeah. Seems like another solid PvP champion. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Pulling right along. We got Reytah's, looks like her younger sister. Here's ultimate energy, debuff. So we got healing prohibition, recharge and attack down. And you gain ultimate energy whenever an ally is afflicted with a debuff. Oh, that seems pretty good. That was it for new epics. Let's get another 10 pull in. Brr. Ooh, this guy just kind of looks cool. Gareth, healing. When receiving single instance damage exceeding 10% of current HP, recovers HP equal to 50% of that damage. The hero gains defense up for 5 seconds, then strikes an enemy dealing damage based off of defense. Deals attack, poison damage to enemies within range. Okay, so super basic. This guy just seems like he's your front line, right? He is your tank. He is healing whenever he gets a big smack to the face, gives himself defense up, obviously making him tankier. And then this, you care less about the damage and just more about the fact that it hits everyone with attack penalty 2, which is the big one, right? So he is just your dude, your guy. He's that guy, reducing attack, making himself tanky. Love to see it. I had to take a break there. My throat getting so dry. Started coughing and hacking on the video. That's never good. Haven't talked this much unbroken for days now. So let's see, what do we got? Zarloth brings an aura, increase all ally attack. Very cool. Every 4th basic attack heals the ally with the lowest current HP by 300% attack. I'm assuming this guy's attack, with a 100% chance of inflicting silence on the enemy for 5 seconds. Okay, so I had seen that there is like attack speed, which just makes your auto attacks go faster. This seems like a guy who would want auto. With a passive like that, he seems like the kind of guy who would want a lot of attack speed. Necrotic damage to enemies within range and recharge, ultimate recharge penalty. So they get their ultimate slower, and then we got some healing, right? So, and solid. All right, we got another legendary. Oh, you're so cool looking. She's super cool looking. All right, let's get right into it. So, at the start of the battle, the hero has a 100% chance of inflicting silence on the nearest enemy for 10 seconds and stealing 30% of their HP and 30% of their defense. 50% of the stolen attributes will be transferred to the ally with the highest attack. HP will not exceed 100% of the hero's max HP. Defense stolen will not exceed 30% of the hero's defense. Okay. So this right here, again, seems more PvP, because I'd have to assume that the bosses in this game cannot have these effects done to them. Right? That seems like it would be really OP if you could do this to a boss. So this has to be a PvP thing where she just makes the enemy frontliner super squishy for your team to nuke, right? Outside of that, we got necrotic damage to enemies within range with a 50% chance of inflicting stun for 3 seconds. That goes up to a 60% chance. Also grants crit hit resistance. Increase the chance of resisting critical hits by 50% to the ally with the highest attack. For each enemy hit, the hero gains 5% ultimate energy. And then on the ultimate, summons a domain that lasts for 10 seconds at the target location, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies within range. Heal all allies by their max HP simultaneously for every second. So what is this? 25% of their max HP over 10 seconds. When enemies within range gain a buff, there's a 40% chance to replace the buff with a random debuff. Oh, okay. Yeah. This is more PvP stuff. This is more PvP wave-based content. So, I mean, like I said, we have talked about needing a lot of help in Arena and not really understanding Arena. So getting what seems to be solid Arena champions. I mean, she could be absolutely buns. Any of these legendaries I could be fawning over could be buns, but they seem pretty good. So I don't know, guys. You let me know in the comments below. Not bad. Don't hate it. We also got this epic, just good old Nate. When a buff expires, dispel from any target on the field. It heals the ally with the lowest current HP by 5% of their max HP. This effect can only be triggered every 1 second. Dispels 1 debuff from all allies within range and grants them with 1 stack of recovery over time. Okay. And what's that? Shield defense up for each enemy hit by the skill. The shield increase. Okay, so it's a massive shield and then defense up. So a cool support and a resplendence person, which we don't have a lot of. We don't have a lot of lightning dudes. So that is a pretty neato. I know there are a ton, like it seems like support is the biggest faction in the game. So not surprised we're getting a ton of those. Another legendary, guys. You know what? Before you do your polls, just start a YouTube channel and you'll be good. You know what I mean? So first things first, we've got Might of the Matriarch. Cast Lightning Strike on the enemy whenever they gain a buff, dealing attack. Derivative lightning damage. So derivative lightning damage means she wants enlightenment, right? If I understand that. Gains an enlightenment bonus but cannot trigger crit. Damage generated by a specific. With a 30% chance of stripping a buff from them, this skill only takes effect once on the same target in 5 seconds. So basically, cast a lightning strike on the enemy. So whenever somebody gets a buff, there is just a chance, 50% chance, that if somebody gets a buff, she will just zap the crap out of them and then strip the buff. That is hilarious. Unleashes Fork Lightning, dealing 300% attack lightning damage to enemies within range, and has a 75% chance of dispelling 1 buff from them and a 75% chance of inflicting attack penalty. Cool. And then unleash a powerful lightning storm. All enemies with a 75% chance of inflicting buff prohibition for 10 seconds. For enemies without any buffs, there's a 75% chance of stunning them. And that is all booked up to 100%. So basically, she is the lady that says you don't get to have buffs ever. You put a buff on yourself, I'm going to zap you and potentially take the buff off. Then I'm going to hit you, potentially take the buff off, and then put attack penalty on you because screw you. And then I'm going to smack the entire field and I'm going to remove all of the buffs, or I'm going to make it so that you can't place buffs on yourself. And if you don't have any buffs to begin with, then I'm going to stun you. Why? Because screw you. This character looks funny as hell. I'm not going to lie to you. She looks funny as hell. Just, I always respect champions that have a very concise theme, and her concise theme is no, to buffs. Just no. Just no. That's pretty fun. I love that, actually. I really do. We also got Kamari. He's got, when battle begins, grants defense up to allies within range. Okay, so yeah, defense up for everybody. Charges from the enemy and knocking up the target. And then resurrection. Okay. Solid support. Looks like a bit of a frontliner. Not bad. Cool. We got to get through here. So Liko, what do we got? Accuracy up, resistance up, defense up with the ally with the lowest HP, and an attack that puts buff prohibition. Okay. Not bad. Let's go back here and check for a second, because we do have our rebates, right? So we have pulled 150. Oh man, we still got 150. We're only halfway through, guys. Okay. One new guy, pirate, deft hand Brody. Cool. Like I said, we're trying not to have a 3-hour summoning video. And so we are just we're just doing our pulls as fast as possible. So some more epics, probably check them out later on. This guy I know was on the prophecy summons. So lightning debuff inflictor that deals lightning damage, dispels enemy shields, and reduces enemy ultimate energy. Cool. All right. No new guys that time. All right. New legendary. We got, wow, look at that haircut. Brother. At that point, maybe just go, I don't know, just be a bald king, my friend. So what do we got? When the hero skill deals damage to enemies within 3 tiles, okay, so he's a damage dealer that wants to be close to the people he's shooting. Blind prevents basic attacks from hitting the target and reduces attack by 50%, and ultimate reduces the ultimate energy by some amount. So deals fire damage, blinds, attack penalty, reduce the targets when dealing damage to enemies within 3 tiles of the hero. Okay. And then accuracy penalty, reduce the targets with 100% inflicting stun. So he seems like one of those legendaries that's just super basic. He does a thing and he's very good at the thing. And the thing for him is making sure that a boss does not rip your tank to shreds, right? He does obviously do some more damage, but the blind, the attack penalty, the accuracy penalty, I don't know if bosses can have their ultimates messed with, but even if they can't, he just seems like and he wants to be within 3 tiles. So this is the guy who's going to assist your tank. He's going to pump out damage, but really what he's doing is he's assisting your tank to make sure that your tank doesn't get ripped to shreds, right? And for dungeons and bosses and stuff like that, makes sense because, you know, this is not single target, but it's not a huge area of effect. And this is a huge area of effect. It's another one of those Kamehameha blasts. So cool. He didn't wow me as much as some of the others, but I also might just be ignorant well, I am ignorant to some of the potential of these legendaries, because I don't know, dude. You know, I just started. I am baby. Please don't bully me. Short stack queen. Love to see it. Was she an evil halfling? Not bad. Irma of the Night Watch. Weaken. When fleeting demons reduce their damage dealt by 10% at the same time. Ooh, healing prohibition. Charm, and charm is a fun one. Making your enemies kill each other, that is fantastic. All right, looks like we got all dupes here. Some of those were new dupes. One final legendary. I think that brings our legendary count up to 7. We got Asilia. First of things first, resistance aura in Grand Gladiator Arena battles. And so you want to use her in the Grand Gladiator Arena. Start with her A1. Divine Favor. For each debuff dispelled or resisted, gains 1 stack of Oathkeeper's Glory up to 10 stacks, which increases healing. Okay. Heals allies within range by targets max 10% of targets max HP plus 1200% enlightenment. And then dispels all debuffs from all ally, then gives them debuff immunity for 10 seconds, then heals them. Okay, so she literally is just healing word. Like, it just reminds me of when I played WoW back in Wrath. And I played a Holy Paladin, and you just spammed Holy Light. Just Holy Light. Just never not be spamming Holy Light. Just you use the Ingram from the little relic thing from Nax because it just flat reduced your HP or the mana cost of your Holy Light, and then you stacked Intellect because it made your mana pool bigger. And that's it. You just spammed Holy Light throughout the whole fight. Didn't matter. You know what I mean? Throw Beacon of Light on the tank. Holy Light. It was the most mind-numbingly boring thing I've ever done in my life. And that's what but you know what the thing is? Boring doesn't mean bad. Doesn't mean useless. Just means not fun to do. And that's kind of what she's giving me. She seems like she's doing a ton. Right, because this stacks up to, for each debuff dispelled or resistant, 1 stack, right? Ideally, with this, you're going to debuff. You're going to get that to 30% extra healing, and then you're just spamming heals. You're just making your team unkillable. Now, obviously, you're going to need to bring a lot of other people to do other things, but when it comes to healing, she's got you. So. Seems good. All right, I think this is our last 10 pull. Right? No. All right, we're at 290. So now we have one more. Yeah, so I'm so confused because 288. No. 280. So 288. We got 30. That would bring us up to 3. Oh no. Okay. The math is mathing. The math is mathing. Our last 10 pull, guys, and of course we get Reytah. Who could have seen that coming? Not bad. So what do we know about her? In Fey Meander and Trial Breakthrough battles, she increases all allies' health by 30%, making the team super tanky. On her passive, all enemies just deal 10% less damage. That's it. It just you just deal. It's not predicated on anything. You deal 10% less damage. For every debuff they have, their damage dealt is reduced additionally by 8% up to 3 stacks. Right? So that is 24% on top of the. So that is 34%. So basically a third. Your damage is being cut by a third. Outside of that, we have deals damage to enemies, and then inflicts attack penalty, and then after a short pause, deals it again to enemies to enemies within range, and does the attack penalty again. So basically, what it seems like is that this is keeping, because it hits, places the attack penalty, pause, does it again. Actually probably keeps it's one of those skills that keeps attack penalty rolling on the boss pretty much always, is what it seems like, right? Finally, we have the ultimate. Dispels all debuffs from all allies, grants them defense up. There is a 100% chance to inflict recharge speed penalty on all enemies for 5 seconds and extend the duration of all their debuffs by 5 seconds. This character just seems good. If she was a raid legendary, she would be the kind of legendary that could go onto any team. Now, I know, of course, raid, we don't have this mechanic where you want people who, you know, they have similar elemental affinities, right? You know what I mean? And then you get some bonuses, like she's a support. So if you put a bunch of supports at the start of the match, you get a huge shield, right? We don't have that in raid, but if there was just a raid champion that did flat damage reduction across the entirety of the enemy team, reduced the enemy's team attack, so big attack decrease, right? Penalty 2, gave your entire team defense up, and essentially a decrease. This would be decreased speed for raid players. If you're watching this, this is decreased speed, because their recharge bar is how they get to their ultimate. And it would basically be like your speed being predicated in how many A3s you get to use, right? Which is usually your or your A4 if you have it, right? A champion's strongest skill. So, nobody has an A4. That's for mythics to transform. That's right. Just mythics transforming. So basically, attack down, defense, decrease attack, increase defense, decrease speed, and just flat damage reduction on the entire enemy team. That legendary could be slotted into almost any team ever. They just bring some of the most quintessential buffs, right? Decrease defense up, useful all the time. Just makes you tankier, right? Some people appreciate it more than others, like defensive based nukers. Defense up, always good. Attack down, again, generally always good. Decrease recharge speed, just seems good. So to me, that is why I wanted to do her first before the actual event guaranteed banner, because she just seemed good. She just seemed generally decent, and the internet seemed to agree. So let's take stock of what we got, because we just finished our event. We summoned Reytah. Wait, can you? Oh, wait, what just happened? Was that supposed to happen? Is that how that's supposed to happen? Or did we just happen to get Reytah through a normal summon before the banner? Is that what just happened? Okay. Yeah, no, I actually think that's what just happened. I think we unironically pulled Reytah as the last summon, and then the banner gives her an imprint. Huh. So if we look, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We pulled 9 legendaries out of that 300 pull. That's actually insane. That's like what? 1 every 30 pulls? I guess that's what that averages out to. And then technically, yeah, because I'm pretty sure what just happened is that on our final 10 pull, we pulled Reytah, and then the banner was supposed to give us the champion, but we unironically pulled the champion, like just in the wild. And so the banner just gave us an imprint. That's crazy, right? That's insane. I don't know. Anyway, I feel like we got pretty lucky with our pulls, guys. Not going to lie. This is definitely Frozen Arthas. Nobody can tell me otherwise. This guy seems crazy. I need to find the dungeon, because there are dungeons that definitely do fire damage. This guy seems like he'd be insane as an anti-fire guy, right? The just giving ultimate energy recharge whenever he takes fire. Oh. Wait. He does fire damage to himself. He does fire damage to himself. How did I not realize that? Guys. All right. I think I need to take a nap because my brain is flustered. But let me know what you guys thought about the pulls today. If you've been playing Dragonheir along with me, how have your pulls been? You know what I mean? Again, something super simple today. Just wanted to get the Reytah event done, and we're just hoping we're kind of testing to see if in the next week we can also do the analysis banner for free. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you were as hype as I was along with the pulls. Let me know in the comments below if you like looking at my face, hearing my sultry voice, or you just thought that this was an entertaining video. Maybe think about leaving a like and subscribing to the channel because it does mean a lot to me. And I really do appreciate every single minute of your guys' time that you give to me. Anyway, that's really been all for me. And I've been Titus. So until next time, I'll see you. Ooh, a chest. Ah, Mimic. I gotta look back at that video footage because that's insane.